Alright, here we go, guys, with our lesson today. Here it is. Okay, today we're going to talk about ratios and tape diagrams. Our learning target for today is students can create and read ratios using a tape diagram. Okay, so we're going to focus on tape diagrams today and just basic ratios and kind of just going over what ratios are again and using them with tape diagrams. Okay, make sure you write down that learning target in your notes. Remember, you got to take notes on everything in the video. And when you are done, you can move on. If you're not done yet, go ahead and pause because I am moving on. Okay, in example 1, we're going to represent the ratio using a tape diagram. So in our first example, I have a ratio of 4 to 3. So remember our tape diagram, I'm going to have two tape diagrams, one for each number. And the first one, I'm just going to make it 4 sections long. And then for my second number, I'm going to make it 3 sections long. Now, each section should be the same size, roughly, okay, so that you can see the relationship of that, how the first one, the top one, is longer than the bottom one. So they should be about the same size when you make them. What you don't want to do is make both of them the same and then just break them into different amounts of sections. Each section needs to represent the same amount. That's how a tape diagram works. Okay, in example B, in my class I have a ratio of 2 boys to 5 girls, so I'm going to put the boys on top. If there's a amount to it, or a name to it, a label to it, I want you to write down that so we know which one is which. So the boys is 2, the girls is 5, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a good visual of the relationship, and again, each section or each segment represents the same amount. In this case, they each mean 1. 1, 2 for the boys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the girls. Okay. If you need to pause, go ahead and pause. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay, in example 2, we want to find the ratio from a tape diagram. So now this time I've given you the tape diagram, and I want you to write the ratio. Okay, I'm going to write it all 3 ways just so that we can practice that. But, you know, we'll see on the test what I'll make you do. But for now, let's practice writing it all 3 ways. Okay, so I have apples to oranges. So what's the ratio of apples to oranges? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 apples. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 oranges. So 6 to 4. Well, I'm going to write that as a better fraction. We can write that as 6 to 4, 6 to 4, or 6 to 4. Okay, you don't need to worry about simplifying or anything right now. We're just writing what we have, the information in front of us. Okay? Second question, what is the ratio of oranges to total pieces of fruit? Well, I have 4 oranges, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of fruit. So that's, 4 oranges, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of fruit. So that's 4 to 10. Okay, 4 to 10, 4 to 10. So that is my ratio, okay? And right now, you don't have to worry about simplifying it. We will do that later, but for right now, we're just writing the information that we have in front of us. Okay? And that's how you write a ratio from a tape diagram. Okay, if you need to pause, go ahead. I'm moving on. Alright, in example 3, describe the multiplicative value. Okay, so again, in this case, I have a ratio of muffins to rolls is 4 to 1. So, describe the multiplicative value from muffins to rolls. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, when I ask for the multiplicative value, and I want you to describe it, I want you to tell me what this represents. This means I have 4 times as many muffins as rolls. Okay, so if I have a ratio of 4 to 1, that means I have 4 times as many of that. So I have muffins to rolls, I have 4 times as many muffins as I do rolls. What happens if I want you to describe the rolls to the muffins? Okay, so use the multiplicative value to describe the rolls to the muffins. Well, that's going to be 1 roll for every 4 muffins, so I have 1/4 as many rolls as muffins. Okay, so if I have 4 times as many muffins as rolls, that means I have 1/4 as many rolls as muffins. So that's the multiplicative value, because this would be times 4 for our first example in A, and this would be times 1/4 for our second, if I go the other way. Okay, and that's what I want to know at the multiplicative value. How many times do I have of each amount? So in A, I have 4 times as many muffins as rolls. And then in the other one, I have 1/4 as many rolls as muffins. So it's being able to understand that, what that is and what that value is. That is how many you're multiplying by to find answers, and that'll be helpful later when we talk about equivalent ratios in a different lesson. Okay? If you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm moving on to my last example. Okay, in example 4, I want to create a situation based on the ratio. So these are going to be making it up, 12 to 1. So you have to think, what in your life do you know that there's 12 to 1 of? Well, I know that there's 12 months to 1 year. Okay, you could have said, oh, there's 12 inches to 1 foot. So there's no exact one answer that you might have here. You just have to think of a real life situation where 12 to 1 could be a ratio. So there's 12 months to 1 year or 12 inches to 1 foot. Okay? In example B, I have a ratio of 1 to 4. So what do I know that there's 1 to 4 of? Well, there's lots of options here. Okay? I could say that there is 1 year is 4 quarters. Okay, $1 is 4 quarters. Oh, how about that? Okay, so you can just make up something that represents what that ratio of 1 to 4 is, and you write it in the way. So in A, I wrote the 12 first, and then in B, I had to write the 1 year first because that was the first number in my ratio. So order does matter in how it's written and how you want to write it. Okay, that's it for tonight. If you need to go back and rewatch anything, go ahead. Otherwise, see you tomorrow.